before, and I did not like it. I would rather be physically doing something. I can do computer work, but I definitely prefer doing physical things. But that's just me. We're all joining CrossFit. Time to flip the giant tires. You're not fit until you flip the tractor tire. Yeah, all the muscles, it's all interconnected. Yeah, I was just saying that I do that. Yeah, just to, it's good to do things like that. But again, it's like finding time. When do you have time to do that for 20 minutes? I have time when I'm driving to work in the morning. So that's when I try and do that stuff with, I'm driving and I'm just like, you know, just stretching that wrist out. Luckily, I am pretty healthy. I don't have any joint problems. I don't have any back problems. I attribute that all to never playing serious hockey or football. I never got into contact sports, and that's what I attribute to my joints being pretty good. Most of the people I know who have back and joint problems, it all traces back to like some sports injury with hockey or football. But that's just some of the people I know. But I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, that was from hockey. My knee is blown out from hockey. You need to flip the spare tire you've been hauling around. Just get yourself an Aussie Shepherd and take it for a walk 3 hours a day. That's what I recommend. Take care of Megan's dog for 3 months. Get into some real shape. Get into Emmett shape. Emmett fit. Forget CrossFit. I'm into Emmett fit. There's nothing more high energy than a puppy. It's time for you to get as fit as a puppy. That's going to be my workout routine. Fit as a puppy. Forget like all this like macho stuff about like you're a warrior. Rah! I'll be like, who wants to get as fit as a puppy? Who wants to be as happy as a puppy? Come on. That'll be my workout. We just run up mountains with puppies. Like all the workouts are with puppies. It's like you're just going to chase that puppy for 20 minutes. And that'll be my jam. You come work out with me. The puppy fit. Forget CrossFit. Forget all that stuff. Forget those kettlebells and all those things, all those those thigh masters and all whatever, man. Let's get a bunch of puppies and just run through the woods. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Manual labor, carpentry is pretty hard. You learn to pace yourself. I don't know if I could. Guitar building is an okay manual labor because it's not, you can pace yourself if you're careful. It's not too bad. But yeah, definitely doing like construction or something like that, I would be really tough to maintain that for like into middle age. Yeah. The Paw Patrol Fitness Center, yeah. I'll have my infomercials out soon. But I think guitar making is pretty good because it's enough physical activity. It gives you some good physical activity, but it's not devastating. Like once you do it enough, you shouldn't be sore. You shouldn't be sore guitar building or carving a neck. You just learn. You do need some stamina. Time to be luthier fit. You guys see me? You see Manny? Luthier fit. You just wait until we release the Luthier Uprising swimsuit calendar, so you guys will see us all of us, and how jacked we are from making guitars. Yes, Richard, that's why I put the tape on the end. My palm is just on the end there. And I'm just making sure my palm, but I know what you mean. It's like, it's how you grip it. And it's like, I just put a little bit of tape on the end there and my palm sits on it. But everybody grips the tools differently. You just gotta find that's comfortable for you. And you can get the Shinto rasps where they have a handle on them. I don't really like the handle because I find it's not as accurate. I'm more accurate with my hand on it, but it does rub on you if you're trying to grip it. Yeah. Yeah, it's just exfoliating, just luthier exfoliating. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Spike is going to make plastic swim trunks. Yes, and they're going to be perfectly molded to our bodies because he'll press them right onto us. That's how we're going to get them. Not the large one. It barely fits in your tool belt. Yeah, it should be this size. Yeah, you can get bigger ones, but yeah, I don't know what size these are, but that's pretty much all you need. One thing, maple, that's another thing, Richard, is that maple is definitely the harder wood. Black walnut, much easier. I've carved a lot of black walnut. I don't mind doing the maple. It carves nicely. It's not, but it is dense. But that's what you want in a neck. So this one is figured. So one of the things that can happen with like figured woods is you have kind of an inconsistency because the flame or the figure will be actually denser than the rest of the wood, so it'll chip out differently. It just tears a little bit more. 50% longer. I didn't know that they came that big. You're a maniac. You should use that thing. It'll be comically, it'll be more funny if you can use that thing. Giant tools for everything. It works well with mahogany. Yeah, mahogany carves so nice. That's the thing. There's a reason why luthiers prefer mahogany. Mahogany just carves so nice. It's so stable. It's just an excellent wood. It's probably the nicest wood to work with. Especially, I had a little bit of really nice mahogany. I've used a few. I don't usually do mahogany, and when I do, it's usually African mahogany, which African mahogany is fine. It's a nice mahogany, but it's not as nice as what's the good mahogany? Is it Honduran? Like the South American mahogany. That stuff is just, it's not very porous. It's just so nice, so smooth. You can get it, you can carve it just so perfect. It feels so good. Hard to get that stuff now. And so it's okay. I'll use maple. Did you know? Hey Darth, how are you doing tonight? A maple tree can grow to size to be cut down in about 30 years, which isn't bad. 30 years is not bad. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with maple. Nothing wrong with maple. Oh, I was chatting with the guy I got this top from. Randomly, the guy I bought this top from, Tonewood Turkey, because they're from Turkey, not the animal turkey, but Tonewood Turkey, whom I got this from, started following me on Instagram randomly. And I was like, oh, hey, Tonewood Turkey, this is, and I tagged them in this, and I was like, oh, this is your top. And I got a message back, and they were like, yeah, I totally recognize that wood. So this was from a 200-year-old walnut tree that was dying. So they cut it down. So walnut, 200 years is pretty old for a walnut tree. Most walnut trees make it to like 100 to 200, 120. Hey, 1 year. Terry, 1 year. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate you being here for 1 year. A whole year. Crazy. Oh, this is really nice. This is really nice walnut, which now makes sense. The figure it has, it is an old walnut tree. But it made me feel better when he was like, yeah, happy anniversary. It made me feel better to know that it it was like a tree that had run its course. And that's the thing is with walnut, 200 is very old. About 100 to 120 is usually when walnut trees start to die. I met a guy who's been salvaging a bunch of walnut trees that have been cut down out here. Vancouver is a very young city comparatively. It was founded in about 1880. It wasn't really populated until, the 20th century. So a lot of the older neighborhoods have walnut trees in them and cherry and stuff like that. And all those trees, those are starting to get old now, and they're cutting them down. So it's kind of nice to kind of salvage those old trees. But anyway, it's good to know. 200-year-old Turkish walnut tree from Turkey. Those old trees, they have a lot of figure in them because of the weight and compression from their size. Same with maple trees. Maple trees don't really live past 100 years either. So, hey, Positively Crafty. What's going on? What's going on, Crafty? What were you working on? I was just talking about trees. Trees and wood. I was just saying that I got a message from the guy I got this wood from, and he said this was a 200-year-old walnut tree that was dying, and so they cut it down and salvaged it for tone wood guitar tops. Working on a beaded necklace. Nice. I was just saying the different ages of trees. So maple, which I'm carving a neck tonight, maple gets to maturity at 30 years. So you can cut down a maple tree at 30 years, which is pretty good for a hardwood tree. A lot of the South American woods, the African ones, you're looking at like 100 years for them to reach maturity, right? That's why it's a lot harder to replenish those trees. So maple is a good one. Maple, we have an abundance of maple here in Canada. They grow quickly. The trees that live for a very long time, oak, specifically, which one is it? Not Gary oak. Maybe it's Gary oak. I think Gary oak grows really wide, and those can live a very long time. But oak trees live a very long time. But we don't use oak trees for guitar building very much. But anyway, how are you doing, Crafty? Thank you for that raid. I don't know if you saw this one done, but this one is finished. This is Buckeye Burl. This one, I got this done a few weeks ago. It's okay, Maple. You didn't reach maturity till you turned 30 either. Yeah, there's just like people. Lives to about... Actually, that's kind of funny that Maple has about the same lifespan as a human. Oh, thanks, Crafty. Yeah, it turned out really, really nice. Somebody saw the guitar on TikTok. It's already sold. So I'm pretty happy with that. I did get some English walnut. So this is locally salvaged. I do have some local English walnut, which is the same tree as Turkish walnut. I just wanted to... I don't know, I really liked that Turkish walnut looks really nice, but obviously I'm not going to order turkey or walnut from Turkey is absurd. I can get walnut locally. So this is one of the trees that was planted out here probably 100 years ago, 80 to 100 years ago as well. this English walnut is not native to the West Coast. It is not native to North America. The walnut in North America out east is black walnut, and on the West Coast is Claro walnut. This body is black walnut from eastern Canada. So that doesn't really grow much out here. But English walnut, which was brought over, grows really well out here. So there's a lot of, so it was planted out here for nuts, but then it proliferated on its own. So there's lots of black walnut out here. So this is local wood that was either cut down or already fallen over. So this is it's not salvage. It's just wood that was already old. It's a little bit more yellow than the Turkish. Yeah, I know, it's good. I'm glad that thing sold, but I am kind of sad that it's going so quickly. But I'm not surprised it sold as fast as it did. But I was hoping to spend a little bit more time with it, but oh well. Oh well, I'll just move on to the next one. There's always another guitar. Okay, Amanda, any guitars you want to see, I will show them to your partner for sure. Thank you, I appreciate that. So this is going to be, here, let me show this. So this is English walnut. Yeah, look at this. I got to get the light to hit it just in the right spot, but you can see there's a lot of figure in there. So that's going to be a nice looking piece. It will be very similar to this one, but yeah, a lot of it is wood selection. Hey, Jaybird Customs, what's going on? Yeah, so yes, this is English walnut, but here's the crazy thing. English walnut is not native to the UK. You're also from the UK. Okay, so yeah, so the English came to British Columbia here and planted the walnut trees, English walnut. But did you know this, Batman? But riddle me this, Batman. Where did the walnut originate from? So this, hey Spike, how are you doing? This is Turkish walnut. So the English walnut is the same species. The walnut, what they call English walnut, actually originated in Persia. So these are actually the same trees, but depending on what region they grow in, there can be like differences in like color tone, and for some reason, I don't know if it's the heat, but the Turkish walnut has just a different look to it. It has different figure in it. It looks very similar. Like this is English walnut, Turkish walnut. This is from here in BC, and it's a little bit lighter. It always changes and stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to sample some Turkish walnut so that I could see the difference. I'm like, well, what is it about Turkish walnut? You see a lot of Turkish walnut in really high-end gun stocks because of the figure in it. Could be the heat, could be the environment, the soil. Maybe they're just older there. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, the Turkish walnut is super nice. Yeah, I like the color. I like the figure. Nice satin. Maybe humidity. It could be humidity too. Like it could be any of those things. I wish I would work with more koa. I think Rage has some koa. I don't work with a lot of koa just because I don't really get much of it out here. Lots of maple, lots of walnut. That's why a lot of what I do is maple and walnut. Hey, please follow Jaybird Customs. Yeah, we're hyping up Jaybird Customs, everybody. If you guys aren't following Jaybird Customs, he is a new streamer builder here on Twitch, and I highly recommend giving that guy a follow. We're pumping him up. We're going to get him affiliated. Rage has a mission. Do you know how many people Rage has gotten affiliated? Like 5 or 6. So get ready. Jaybird Customs. Give that guy a follow. Yeah. This is your cat, Koa? Oh, nice. I love Koa. Turkey and walnut. Yeah, it just makes sense. Turkey and walnut. Hey, thank you for that follow, Amanda. Jaybird will be live tomorrow around noon Mountain Standard Time. Okay. You guys give Jaybird a follow there. We have a whole group of luthiers here on Twitch. For all of you who just raided in, and if you're into more guitar stuff, check out our Discord. There's a whole group of a bunch of like dozen other guitar builders here on Twitch. We all have a big group Discord, and we kind of share our work, and a lot of crossover with all the builders on here. So, yeah. Yeah, he brought Spike in. Yeah, Frugal Fixer. So, Frugal Fixer, another new streamer. Followed, nice. Anyway, so, you guys, I got a really, really nice piece of spalted maple coming in. It should be in next week. It's, yeah, I'll show you next week. I got a really nice piece of spalt coming in. You wait and see. You wait and see. Rage gets other people affiliated. He never gets himself. Stop by Maple. No, you don't have spalt like this, Rage. This is my favorite kind of spalt. The spalted maple that looks like an illustration. This is unique. This is different. This one's different. Anyway, let me show you a few more of my guitars, and then I'm going to get back to work carving this neck. So I've got this one. All these guitars are up for sale. I just updated my website. If anybody's interested in my guitars, I have my online store there. You can check all these out. I've been building quite a bit for the last year. This is the 2021 collection. This one's the Outlaw Country. I think I'm sending this one down to Texas. That's what's happening with this one. Somebody from Texas is going to want this thing. One-piece mahogany body, flame maple neck, ebony fingerboard, black limba top, Pacific U strip with a cow skull inlay. Very, very country, very, very Texan. I don't know why I made it, but here it is existing in the world. Yeah, the Outlaw Country. Don't tell me how to party, Rage, telling me not to buy maple in my own country. We have to stand up for the maple. Anyway. This, actually, speaking of English walnut, so this one is also, I do a lot of walnut. This one is also English walnut. I don't know if you can, the camera doesn't pick up the figure as well. This camera actually gets, there we go. That camera gets the figure a lot better. But this one is also English walnut. So this one is all Canadian wood. I made this all with Canadian wood. Black walnut body, black walnut neck, and then Pacific Yew fingerboard and English walnut top. Semi-hollow as well. Yeah, I like the bevels, Mark. I put the bevels on everything. Yeah, the walnut flames are not quite as prominent as the maple. Yeah, for sure. I've been using tung oil to try and bring out the figure a lot better. Like on this one, it turned out okay. It turned out pretty good. Like this one had there's a lot going on in that one. But again, I think that's why people like the Turkish walnut, for whatever reason, the figure is more pronounced. Maybe it has something to do with the humidity. But I just noticed you get way better figure in the Turkish variety than the local variety. I don't know why. But anyway, this one's up for sale too. I put them all up for sale. Crazy Hank's Guitar Emporium. Manny had a really good idea, and he was just like, set it up like a collection. And I'm like, yeah, I like that, like a gallery. Yeah, that's the thing. Jaybird, I thought he disappeared. I was like, what happened to Jaybird the other day? He changed his name. It was like X Jaybird X before. Now it's Jaybird Customs, which is a good name change. Jaybird makes more sense. It was the right move, especially right at the start when you're starting to stream. Now was a good time to change the name. So it's like it's not that big of a deal. Just what Rage is pushing. Rage is on a mission. Rage is going to hassle everyone. Follow Jaybird. We got to get Jaybird up to 50. The walnut you have is tropical and very dark with any oil. I guess it just depends on the tree. It is true. I have some dark English walnut as well. Yeah. Okay, Crafty. Thank you for that raid. You have a good weekend. Now grind out content. Let me show you. I have another one. This is English walnut as well. So it's like, that's English walnut. So it's like, I guess it really depends on the tree. That looks like a lynx to me. This is a really neat build. This is the Freya. We build this one here in the shop. This is actually Meredith's design. I worked on this guitar, but this is Meredith Coloma's Freya guitar, and it's halfway between an SG and a Mustang with a semi-hollow. Yeah, it's like a pointy Mustang. This one semi-hollow has that F-hole on it. This is Meredith. This is all Meredith. Me and Will work on guitars with her here in the shop. That's how I started, was working for Meredith on her guitars, and then I started on my own. You can see the similarities. I worked on this body, and I was like, hey, let's try this bevel. So this was the first one where we're like, hey, let's do this bevel with an F-hole. And then I kind of kept going with that idea. You can tell with a lot of the guitars in the shop that we all work together. All of our guitars here all kind of have similar aesthetics. They all kind of rhyme with each other, you know, but they're all very different. It's really funny. Let me get the three guitars, and you can see the three people's personalities. Let me get Will's guitar. Okay. So this is Will. That's Will's guitar, the Dunvegan, which is a real metal shredder guitar, swamp ash body, walnut neck, walnut top. That's a Claro walnut top with a Wenge fingerboard. And it's got some Nazgul pickups. So, and then, let me see. I don't know if I can get all of the guitars in shot. I'm going to rest that up against the microphone. Okay. Okay. So there's the three. This is Meredith, this is me, and that one is Will. And these all walnut guitars, similar materials, but three different luthiers, three different personalities, but you can kind of see similarities in all of them. You know, like we all work together. We share ideas and stuff, so it's kind of neat. 9 pickups for the rulers of men. Yeah, these are nice. Like Meredith is more of like the kind of like jazzy, kind of alternative stuff. This is more like country, rock, and then that's just like it's metal, you know. So we got it all covered. But this is a really nice one. This is super nice. Those Nazgul pickups are actually really, really good. I was surprised. I thought they were stupid because of the name. I thought they were just a stupid meme. But they are Seymour Duncans. They are like $400, so they better be good. But this is a really good shredder. So the difference is, if you want to know how to make a good shredder guitar, yeah, I like the P90s as well. That's another thing, is Meredith uses a lot of P90s. Will, it's humbuckers. Me, it's Telly style guitars. I do P90s and humbuckers as well, but you can just kind of see we all have our preferences. Oh yeah, some P90s would be pretty nice in one of these. With these ones, this one is like, it's thinner, swamp ash, very light. It's a bolt-on neck. It's not a set neck, but Will does the same thing I do with the bevels and stuff. So and then the deep cutaway. So you still have good fret access with this guitar regardless. It's about as good as you can get with a bolt-on. And it's a 24 fret, 20-inch radius. So that fingerboard is very flat. The shredders like a more flat fingerboard. He always does 20. He wants his fingerboard flat and wide. So I think it's a 43 mil nut, and jumbo frets, 20-inch radius, really thin neck, super thin, wizard thin neck, very similar to an Ibanez neck. Yeah, and that's, but with telly pickups and controls, the shredder telly. Nobody makes that, Jaybird. Nobody. What if the telly players want to shred and they can never shred? Yeah, so Orthogon has been in the shop. He was here for neck carving with Will, and he played them, and he'll tell you, they all feel really good. You almost bought a Jackson Flying V at an auction and put P90s into it. That would be pretty cool. BC Rich Beast with the telly pups. Yeah. Nobody's done it. I've never seen that done. Yeah, that would be hilarious. Rage Guitars is working on a Flying V right now. Will did a Flying V. All out of black walnut. It looked really nice. There was a few problems with it. I don't even know how you would play this thing. I don't even know. But this is very Jackson-esque. And then the spear headstock. But anyway, yeah, this is Will's baby. So that was one of the things. Abomination guitars. Have you played an Abomination yet? Actually, that's a really good idea. I like that. You got another Abomination. Do you guys want to see actually, no, wait, it's glued up. We have a student in right now. He's doing an SG Jazzmaster. So an offset SG. So imagine an SG that's offset like a Jazzmaster. And then it has like a Jazzmaster trem on it and a pickguard. It's actually is going to look pretty good. That is a great name. You should get some Rage pickups for the Abomination. Parallel universe. Anyway. Solid build here. This is a really good build. It was a little disappointing, the Wenge. The only thing that I don't like about this one is the Wenge is too light. We were hoping that the Wenge would turn more black when it was oiled up, and it didn't. It stayed more brown. So it's a very brown guitar. It would have been better if it was like a black fingerboard, but it doesn't change the playability of it. It's still a really good guitar. Just going to put that right there for now. Not going to fall over. Okay. But anyway, I haven't done any real kooky guitars. I haven't done anything kooky. My stuff has been very, I don't know, I wouldn't say safe, but standard to the most part. Like I was explaining the Big River the other day. So I call this one the Big River. And basically, it just takes all the things I like about tellies and changes the things I don't. You know? This is a sweet guitar. I'm not just pumping my own tires. Like, it took a while to get here. But I'm super happy with how this guitar turned out. It's all the things I like. I think that's the thing. It's like if you put a lot of work into something, you can just be happy with it as a piece and just be like, yeah, it's all the things I like. This is all the things I like in a telly. I've never done a headless. Like I said, I haven't done anything really crazy. I haven't been doing my own designs for a very long time. I just finished. I had been building these for about a year and a half, and I did nine of these guitars, and I feel like they're really solid right now, as far as a build goes. Like these are really good. I got them to a point where they're like just really, really good guitars. So now I can start refining the Roya, which is my other one. I'm changing this one a bit. I'm not going to tweak the Big River anymore. It's just a really good telly. This one I'm going to shorten the scale length and do a different bridge on it. This is my fanciest one. Shoom. Buckeye Burl. Yeah, this is pressure dyed Buckeye Burl with a Padauk body, and then scarfed Padauk and maple neck with maple fingerboard. So this one sold. Guy on TikTok saw that, bought it. So that'll be going out soon. But I'm kind of I want to try one of these guitars with a, if you guys have ever seen, it's a Hipshot Baby Grand bridge. They look really good. So I want to kind of make this its own thing now. So I've done 9 of the Big Rivers, and I've done Hemmels, my dad's, Tigers. So only 5, I've done 5 of those. And so it's like, maybe I need to do 4 more to fully flush out the idea. Oh, thanks, Jaybird. Hey, thank you for that follow. Hey, Sulu. You've used a Baby Grand? Yeah, they're very unique. What I like about them is that you don't see them a whole lot. And they are a little bit pricey, but I think when you're doing, like with my Roya guitars, they're fancy guitars. I'm going to go with a fancy bridge. That's kind of the point. And so I kind of want it to be something you don't see. Like I put a Hipshot hardtail on this, and I was talking to Jer, and Jer was saying that he's like, he doesn't like them, not that they're bad bridge. He's just like, I see them on everything. And it's true, because they're really good bridges. But I get that it would be neat to do something a little bit different and do one of those Baby Grands on there. I would like to mill my own bridges, but not yet. Haven't done it. I'm just buying them at this point. But if I had a little brass, like a CNC, I would like to do my own brass and aluminum bridges. Someday I will do my own bridges. Please check out Jaybird Customs. What's Jaybird at right now? I think he was at 14 the other day. What's he at now? Anyway. Yeah. 25. Nice. Halfway there. Yeah, it would be nice to mill out. Aluminum is really nice. A lot of people are use like, what is it, aircraft grade aluminum and stuff. But you can do nice things. I was talking to Meredith about it. You can do some nice some nice plates and stuff. Something, it doesn't have to be square. That's what I like about the baby grand, is that it's offset, and it's like, yeah, like it can be any shape. I get why they do square bridges. It makes total sense. But it would be nice to do something to incorporate the bridge with the whole design of the guitar, you know? Oh man, I think it's. Have you ever built a guitar before, Mulder? If if you're interested in guitar building, you guys should check out our Discord. We have a group Discord with a bunch of other builders on Twitch and a bunch of other building enthusiasts and various just guitar people. So you should check out our Discord and find more. All the guitar people are on there. But if you're just starting out, there's a lot of other people that are just kind of starting to kind of prototype their ideas, doing their things. And yeah, if you're looking to kind of learn how to do that, I would suggest, honestly, build a Telecaster. If you've never built a guitar before, try and build a Telecaster, because you learn all the things that make a guitar work, but it's probably the easiest to fabricate. That's what I usually recommend. Or build a kit and just see all the pieces and how it all fits together. And then you can kind of modify the shape. So what I do, on mine, obviously, like, this is a Tele variant, right? So it has the same scale length. All the Telecaster hardware fits on it. It's a different shape. The body is a little bit different. The neck is a little bit different. The headstock, but at its core, it has the same neck pocket. You could put a Tele neck on it. It would work just the same. So things like that. It's a concept that's never been taken to guitars. It would all need to be custom. That's quite an endeavor, Mulder. But I totally back any sort of ambition. I totally back. Rage is wearing Hank socks right now. That's a true mod. You can't mod unless you wear your Hank socks. Yeah. It's never been done before. Don't share it. We'll just steal it. I'll just steal. Tell us your idea, Mulder, and I'll steal it. It'll be the Hank idea. That's what I do. That's what the entire Discord is. Watch yourself, Jaybird. That Discord was created just so I can steal everyone's ideas and pass them off as my own. Well, that's the whole thing about engineering. Theoretically, it can work with the right materials. I haven't done anything very revolutionary with guitars so far. Maybe someday, and it would be super expensive. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. If it's a neat idea, somebody might be into that, like there are some builders who've done very unique designs, and they approach it from a different angle, like you can tell which builders are designers, you can tell who's an instrument maker and who's a designer, who's an engineer and who's a woodworker, who's a musician. building their dream guitar. There's so many different ways to approach guitar building, and I think whatever sort of experience or mentality that you have that you want to bring into it, it's all good. There's not like, if you can build a guitar, then it's success. Like, if you build your guitar and stick to your vision, success. I've seen some really interesting concept guitars. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, that it works. Is it playable? Is it an instrument? Yeah, it works. For me, I obviously don't do anything very radical. All the hard work has been done. Like I was saying, with the Big River, it was about, there's a lot of things I don't like about the Telecaster, and I just removed those things and made it, this is how I think it should look. And at the end of the day, that's pretty much what you're saying. When you're a guitar builder, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of guitars in the world, and this is what I think a guitar should look like. Some people are like, what's a great guitar? The Les Paul. And they just build Les Pauls, and fair enough. They think it, it's like, that's what a guitar is to them, Some people build Telecasters, So it's, some people are like, I have my own concept, and it's like, yeah, that's a guitar. Tools are the biggest expense. Yeah. Especially if you're doing CNC stuff. You can do guitar building on a budget, but it is really nice to have those tools because they save you time. I do guitars pretty much full time. I'm not building my guitars full time. I do a lot of side hustles, teaching, fabricating, but I'm in the shop every day, which is good. So I'm not always building guitars, but I'm at least in the shop every day working on it. And that's the hardest thing, is just like getting into a position of like your constraints on money and your constraints on time. Those will always be the two things that is just that fine line. That's why it's super relieving that one sold. Even though I was like, oh, that's really nice. I would have liked to have it around a little bit more, but it's nice to have that paycheck, But another thing with electric guitars, hardware is really expensive, especially if you're getting into high-end boutique guitars. There's this fine line between, it's like, okay, you can do cheap hardware, but then it's like, are people going to be, why wouldn't they just get a Fender? If they just want cheap hardware, they can just get a Squier. Why would they pay that price point for, unless you're doing something really neat? It's just a tough game. It's a real tough game, and you have to kind of crack that nut. I'm almost cracking that nut as far as like my style and what I'm doing and my price point and what I can build. I'm lucky. The one advantage I have is being in BC, in Canada, and I can get inexpensive wood. That's it. That's my one advantage, is like I can get wood locally to build my guitars, so I have to use that, Well, figure out something you can build, Mulder. That's the thing. It's like, it is a different thing when you get into actual fabrication of a concept and working through it. Because like having a good idea, you have to build it, because you don't know if it'll work until you build it. And then you build it and you're like, okay, it worked, but it could work better if I do it this way. It's like, it's a process, it's prototyping. You're not going to nail it right off the bat. And that's what can be really tough if it's a very expensive prototype. That's why it's best to prototype with, if you are going to prototype with cheaper materials, and then later start doing the higher end materials. Like I'm doing a prototype. A prototype right now of just like scrap maple. You know, some builders make a ton of one style. It's true, Jaybird. Like once you dial that in, is like you get known for something. Like that's why I'm okay pushing the big river, because I really enjoy building the big river. And if people are like, that's all we want from you, that's fine, because it's like one of those things when you put the guitar, you should only be building guitars that you want to build. Because if you build a guitar that you just think people will like and you don't like building that guitar, that's going to suck. Because once you put a guitar out and somebody likes it, that's what they want. If I build tellies and then I go up to someone and it's like, well, I can also build classical guitars too. They don't care. They don't want my classical guitar. They've only seen the telly, right? You get kind of typecast into your models. Like if you build electrics, then you build electrics. Like it's just what you put out, and that's what people see. So it's like, yeah, you can just build one model over and over again, you know. I want to do a few different models, but I'm probably going to have just a handful of models, and that's okay. Because I like the different wood combinations and stuff. Money to keep a steady supply of stuff to work on. Yeah, cheap wood to experiment on. 2x4s. Yeah, anything you can salvage. And that's the biggest thing is when you're starting out is it's really tough. Like you're lucky, Jaybird, that you have space you can work in. So like it is tough, but it's like at least you have space, you know? An inflated guitar full of gas? Build it, Mulder. Don't tell me about it. I want to see a prototype. I want to see a prototype right now of your gas guitar. No more talk. It's time to show me this thing. I want to see this. Lucky Dog guitars are amazing, but they're all tellies for the most part. Yeah, I don't want to just build tellies, but I'm really happy with my semi-hollow Big River. Like I'm just so happy with that. I just want to sell them and make more, but I do want to experiment more, and that's kind of what the Roya is right now. So, and another thing is that once you dial it in, you can start being more creative. So once you have your process figured out, then you can start doing more crazy things with the models, because it's like, well, maybe I'll try this on it now, because you don't have to worry about whether your neck pocket is going to line up anymore, because you figured that out, right? So it's, I find now what is exciting is that the Big River is dialed in. So now I can just experiment with it and not have to worry about the technical side. I can just focus on the creative side. Anime girls. Yeah, that's why I'm dragging my feet on that anime guitar doom. I don't want to be the anime guitar guy. I thought I was going to be the dog ukulele guy for a time. Yeah. It's not the guitars he wanted, but the ones he needed. Hey, give Jaybird Customs a follow there, Doom. He's trying to get affiliated. Help a new luthier streamer out. The space may be growing, hoping to be moving soon. Double your shop space. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's sweet to have space. I lucked out with this space because I know Meredith, and it all kind of worked out. I lucked out. I really lucked out. Add silver in the mix and boom. Best resonance guitar. I need to see a prototype here, Mulder. I need a prototype. I need to hear this thing. Don't tell me. Show me. You don't experiment with the waifu. Don't worry, Papa Doom. I'm going to be spraying that next week. Your space is now an 11 by 11 foot bedroom. Yeah, well, that's not so bad. You know? That's the one thing that I always find reassuring, that it's like no matter what, I can be building guitars out of a garage. Or like a small room. Yeah, like that's the thing. You got to use, and that's another thing. You just got to do it. Sorry for sounding too inspirational here. I know it makes me cringe as well. But there's no ideal time. There's no perfect space. You just have to work with what you got, you know? Yeah, just work with what you got. Okay, Mulder, it's good chatting with you. You have a good night. Dream your guitar design dreams. Good news, everybody. I got a great new idea. It's a gas-filled guitar. I got this exciting new idea I came up with. That was the thing that was kind of helpful for me when I came into the shop. Meredith and Will were prototyping the Dunvegan. So I've done production work in the past. When I was working for a clarinet company, I was there from the full process, prototyping to production, and it was about a 4-year process to get the equipment, to get everything up and running into production where we could do hundreds of clarinets in a year. I can't remember how many we were pumping out, but it was like it started off with 8 of us, and then it ended up as a small factory, a small production facility of dozens of people. But it was kind of interesting being part of that. So that's like my background is actually in production, is not, I started in the factory, which is kind of funny. Like I didn't start out as an individual builder. I started in production, in boutique production. So it's like prototyping is something that I have a lot of experience with, like the process of prototyping. And then when I came into the shop here, Meredith and Will were prototyping the Dunvegan, so I was like watching. I wasn't taking part in it, but I just saw how they did it. And then I could take kind of lessons learned from that into my own designs. Thank you, Papa Doom. I know I'm smart, but it does help when people acknowledge it. It definitely helps. It definitely helps when people tell me I'm smart. Now you're on your own again. Yeah. Kits is a good way to start. Kits is a really good way to start. You learn all the parts. But that's the thing, Jay Bird. Weren't you saying that you were in production on acoustics? So it's like it's kind of funny. It's the same with me. Like I was in production on clarinets. Not exactly the same thing, but you still learn processes, you know. Gibson Acoustic Division, nice. Yeah, like it's a lot of, I don't know, a lot of like, what can I say? Like the process of construction, fabrication, even though you're fabricating different things, just the process of like breaking down the steps and all the things, like it all does apply. What not to do than what to do. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what a log production is. Just be a one-man factory now. There is a guy out here, Ed Bond of Halcyon Guitars. He used to be the production manager at the Larrivee facility. So a lot of the guitar builders out here got their start in the 90s, 80s and 90s, when Larrivee was doing a lot of guitar building out here. So I met there was a lot of people who came out of Larrivee, and then just kind of went out on their own. So it's kind of interesting. Now Larrivee isn't building in the city anymore. I think they still have their facility in California, I think, but they don't have a facility out here anymore, which is too bad. It sucks that there aren't guitar building jobs that people can just get experience, and it's a really hard thing. Most builders can make enough to support themselves. They usually don't take on apprentices, right? So it's kind of like, it's getting the knowledge is actually, it's not, the knowledge is out there, but you have to be kind of, you got to figure out a lot of it on your own. You got to figure out your own process. Yeah. Oh, you own, yeah. Richard has 2 Halcyons. So does Will. Will has a Halcyon as well. Ed is great. Ed makes Halcyon guitars. He's an acoustic builder. I highly recommend, if you guys are ever searching for a really nice acoustic and you're looking at like a Taylor, like a higher end Taylor, I would actually highly suggest you go to Halcyon Guitars. He has a very competitive price point. I don't know how he sells them at the price point he does, but you can get a Halcyon for the same price as a really nice Taylor, and you would get a better guitar from Ed from Halcyon Guitars. So that's my plug. Highly recommend Halcyon Guitars. Do that instead. He learned how to put lipstick on a pig working for Gibson. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Gibson, I'm not going to knock Gibson, but like their process is it works. It's kind of archaic, but it works, and they're not going to change it. They're just not going to change because that's what they're tooled up to do. So if you build guitars one way, since the 1950s, it's going to be really hard to change, But I'm not going to knock Gibson too much, but it would be really weird working. I know what it's like working in a production facility, and you're just doing one job over and over again. You're not actually building a guitar. You're building. You're just doing finishing, or you're just sanding. Like, production is very specialized, and they do that on purpose so that you stay in your spot and that you don't actually learn how to build a whole guitar. You just learn how to do the finishing, or you just learn how to do the necks or something like that. Very few people, Ed Bond knew the whole process because he was the production manager. And so when he left Larrivee, he just became a one-man factory. His shop is crazy. He has everything, his jigs, like he's just a one-man factory. He can have a guitar done in a week, which is pretty crazy. Nicole Losnick also came out of Larrivee as well. Yeah, Nicole is just down the street here as well. She's very good. Very good. You have the Halcyon number 50. That's a good number. They're good. I can highly recommend Halcyon. Highly recommend them. They're very good. And even better for the price point. Insane. Insane. They're stripped back and they sound really good. Yeah, they're very simple guitars. He doesn't do a lot of fancy stuff. He gets really good wood, and they're very, very simple, good, solid instruments. They're very solid instruments. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like if you were there at that time, man, that would be rough. It would be rough being at Gibson during their down. They'll bounce back eventually, but it's a big company, you know. It's a big company. Cutting binding slots for 115 guitars, then putting binding on 50 sanded bodies. Yeah, yeah. Never went the full process. Yeah, they do that on purpose. They do that on purpose, you know? Yeah, his tops are really good. He loves the Lutz, the torrefied Lutz. Yeah. And that's the thing, it's like, yeah, it's... I would never go back into production. I really don't want to be in a factory. Factory settings, working in a factory is fine. Did you listen to a lot of podcasts, Jay Bird? That's what I did. I just had my headphones on with a jack in them and just listened to podcasts and music all day. So it was like, that was the one good thing, was I got to... My mind was free. I got to listen to whatever I wanted. I could listen to audiobooks for 8 hours a day if I wanted to. Anyway. Yeah. Production, man. I don't mind. I don't have a problem doing my own stuff. I'm not too bad. I'm not going to say I never procrastinate, but I don't have a problem coming into the shop and just working. Granted, I get to hang out with my friends here in the shop, so it's like, it's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal. I never hate going into the shop. I'm never dreading it. I'm never dreading it. And I don't... There's a different sort of exhaustion. Nice. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't know. It's not the repetition. It's just weird when you're working for yourself. You just don't have those days where you're just like... The exhaustion is different when you're in production. Like, you're just exhausted and you don't feel really good about what you made. Whereas you can put in more hours working on your own stuff and you feel so much better. Even though you're exhausted, there's a certain satisfaction where you wake up with energy and you're ready to get back into it. I was never excited to go into production work. I was never excited to go to the factory and get things done. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was never that energy from it. You were just doing your time and you were getting paid. You know, that was it. But most jobs are like that, I guess. You know, that's pretty much all jobs. I just described all jobs. If it was fun, you would do it for free. Yeah. I don't know if guitar building is fun. It's very satisfying. I think that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem with production work, is you never get to complete something. You know, you're just doing your thing and it goes on. If you actually, when you complete something, it never lets you, it's like a story that never ends. You know, there has to be a conclusion. You know, how does the story end? It became a guitar, right? But when you're in production and you're just doing your menial task over and over again, you never get that conclusion. You never get the satisfaction of being like, oh, it's done and I finished it. You know? They take that from you. There's no conclusion. The mind wants the conclusion. To get that dopamine hit, you're not getting that dopamine hit. They take that from you. They take it from you. Yeah. Rage says it's fun. If Rage says it's fun, Rage is nothing but fun. Nothing but fun. I've said it before, but it's about having a physical representation of your work. You know? It's just satisfying to look at something you built and just be like, yeah, I built that. I built that with my hands. I carved all that wood off the neck by hand. Yeah, you're fun, Rage. Nobody says you're not fun. Everyone says you're the most fun person in the world. Funnest person in chat. But then, the extreme, I think the extreme version of that is video games are kind of the extreme version of satisfaction simulation. You know what I mean? Like, you get the same dopamine from video games. It just doesn't, you don't get the satisfaction. You just get the dopamine hit of successfully completing something, right? You know, a challenge or something. And you just get, it's a satisfaction simulation. But it's not, you can't it never stays, like, but it triggers the same things in your head where you're like, yeah, I did that, but it doesn't last in the same way. So it's like kind of a fine line, like what everybody has to toil. We all know this. Everyone has to work. And anybody who's like, well, I don't want to work, I'm just going to make $1 million on Dogecoin and never work again, you probably won't be happy. I'm not going to tell you how to party if you just want to party, whatever. But you have to do something. Humans have to make things. We have to do things. You have to work. There's no way around it. Everyone has to work, So then it's like, well, what am I going to toil my life away with? Because you're going to spend more time working than hanging out with your family, your friends, doing anything, right? So then people are like, well, just do what you love and then you never have to work another day in your life. Easier said than done. Easier said than done, my friend. The person who said that, if everybody followed that, who would pick up our garbage? Huh? Nobody's like, well, that garbage man, he's never working a day in his life because he's doing what he loves. No, he's doing his job. And we're grateful that that guy is not following his dreams and that he's doing his civic service in waste management, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know what point I'm making. I'm just saying that it's best that everybody not follow your dreams. Don't follow your dreams. Society will collapse. Some of us can follow our dreams. Everyone else can't. Okay? So those of us who are following our dreams, not me, I never dreamed of building guitars. But those of you who do dream of building guitars, there's a lot of people who want to build guitars. It's a tough field out there. So your dreams better be really good. I don't think I was ever just here to suffer. Well, you don't have to suffer, but you don't have to fulfill your dreams either. Yeah. So which kids get their souls crushed? It's a good question. I think most people find jobs that they find satisfying. I think searching for a job that makes you happy is kind of a strange thing, because it's like, I'm not happy building guitars. I'm satisfied building guitars. Just like, I think it's just finding satisfaction in your life. Somebody can be satisfied selling real estate. Maybe they're not like, whoa, maybe they get a rush when they make the big sale, Some people do enjoy selling real estate, but I think most people are doing a job for the most part that they're satisfied with, and guitar building is a satisfying job. That's why people are like, hey, I want to build guitars, right? It's satisfying. I am satisfied with guitar building. I never dreamed of being a guitar builder, but guitar building utilizes a lot of the skill sets that I have as a woodworker, a designer, finisher, all those things. So it works for me. I find it satisfying because it uses all of my skills. And I think that that's what's unsatisfying about menial jobs, like working in a factory, is it's not satisfying because it's really not utilizing your fullest potential, right? Which is fine. If they pay you enough and it supports you and your family, then that's fine. Like, it's okay. You can build guitars in your spare time and go fishing. Nothing is keeping you from building guitars. building guitars as a profession is a different beast, but it's like, you know, so you can't really knock just a regular job. It just sucks when you're doing something that, like, you could be doing more, and you should always strive for the best that you can do and the best you can perform at whatever you're doing. Like, if you're going to do anything, you don't want to do it bad, because that's where the satisfaction comes from. Satisfaction comes from doing a job well, you know? That's all I'm saying. I've done a lot of menial jobs in my life. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's work. That's another thing, is like a dream. Once a dream becomes work, it's just another job. It's just another job. I heard it's better to figure out what kind of lifestyle. You've seen a lot of guitars that good enough is okay. Well, I'm not going to tell anyone how to party. I'm not going to tell anyone how to party, Rage. But everybody has to toil. That's the bottom line. So, then it comes into, I think one of the things that's appealing about guitar building is lifestyle. Lifestyle is very important. Money will make you happy for a short time. They've done studies. It's like money, getting that raise doesn't really make people happy. As soon as somebody gets a raise, within a couple months, their lifestyle adjusts to that money, and they have just as much money at the end of the month that they did a year ago before the raise, right? So getting more money isn't necessarily the thing. Like how you live, and what's appealing about guitar building for some people is you get your own space, you work on your own projects. There's a lot of independence. And people like that. It's nice to not have to answer to anyone, you know? It is, except for clients. You always have to answer to someone, I guess. I was wrong about that. But you get to problem solve on your own, and so it's more of a personality thing, right? That it's like, oh, I would like to have my own shop, do my own thing. Wouldn't that be nice? And it is. It can be nice. Sometimes it's not. No money in guitar making. Well, that's another thing, is when you go independent, I'm not trying to turn anyone off of it, is there's the exchange of being on your own. What you're giving up is security. So even if Gibson screws up, chances are you're still going to have a job, unless they have to like shut down the whole factory, unless they screw up really bad. But when you're working for a company, it's not your problem. Not your problem. You're just an employee, right? So it's like there's a certain security in certain things. You're going to get a paycheck. You know, you're exchanging that. With independence comes lack of security. It's a trade-off. Some people find that really stressful, like really stressful. Like a lot of people don't, like they try and make a go of things like independently, and it doesn't work out because it's just stress. It's like a lot of stress. Well, what about this? What about that? And it's like, well, you can't really control that. So it's a certain kind of mentality or a kind of lifestyle that you live where you can just be like, well, I'll figure it out, you know? Okay, Richard. No problem. You have a good weekend. I'm sorry I won't be here on Sunday, but your neck is looking really good. We'll chat again for sure. Yeah, long-term security with the company. That's what they but they don't even provide that anymore. That's nonsense. They'll downsize. They'll fire you if they need to make some fourth quarter profits. But that's the thing. It's just a trade-off, and it's really easy. Gotta go to Home Depot. Must be nice. I think it's very easy to romanticize guitar building. You know, like, oh, you're this artist, this craftsman, and that's how you kind of sell guitars, boutique guitars. Is like you're like, oh, I'm an artist. You know, it's like I'm a auteur. You know, I have these visions and I create these things, right? And that's part of like kind of the sales thing is like, you know, you can make guitar building, you can romanticize it, you can make it that kind of fantasy. For me, coming from production, like professional music instrument production, there's no romantic side to instrument making. It is a job, you know. That kind of like killed, like as soon as the curtain is drawn, it's the same. It's like what Papa Doom was saying, like playing video games, loving video games, and then making video games is a different beast. The same with like working in film. Working in film, I know people who love it. I know other people who are like, they hated it and they quit. There's no magic anymore. Films are wonderful, but acting, the art, everything in it is wonderful, but the reality of making that art is very stressful. It's very time consuming. It's very hard. It's a hard job, and it's not fun. But it is satisfying. So then you might be asking, well, Hank, what are you doing? Well, let me tell you what I'm doing. I don't make guitars. I make aspirational media. I am in the same genre as a rapper. Just as a rapper does aspirational media of like, hey, I'm a tough gangster. I get all the women, and my pockets are filled with money, and I live a violent life of action, and I care not for what any authority has to say. It is people like that. They live vicariously through that. It's entertaining, and that's a rapper is not a musician. They are aspirational media, and so what I do is aspirational media. I give everyone a piece of the luthier life. You know, I give you you can sand along. You can have a piece. You want a piece of the life, man? Here's the life. Here's the luthier life. Let me tell you, I'm just hanging out with my bros in the shop, making sweet axes. Partying every night, rocking out on my guitars. You guys don't know what happens later after I finish carving. That's when all the musicians come. Yeah. Thank you for that burn pile, Bumstead. Let me tell you, this place goes crazy. No, man, I'm not just walking the dog. Yeah. Oh yeah, Spike is showing you the great thing is Frugal Fixer would be doing the exact same thing whether there's a camera on him or not. He'd be even saying the same stuff, even if there wasn't a camera there. If you guys aren't following Frugal Fixer, you'll be there in the shop with him in all of his madness, in all his projects and stuff. He's just giving you a window into the Frugal Fixer. I think that's what the streaming is kind of. Basically, that's what it is. It's just like giving people a window into our shops and all the weirdos who make things in their shop. Because that's the thing, is like, if there was no camera on, I'd probably have this neck done by now. That's for one. But I'd probably be doing the same stuff, you know, probably muttering to myself. I'd have a running monologue in my head. Just now I have an outlet for the running monologue in my head. Everything I just said for the past hour, all that nonsense, it would have just been a running monologue in my head. Yeah, you talk to yourself to get good answers and no argument. Exactly. Well, that's another thing, is I think that, here's another thing about when you work for yourself. A lot of luthiers are real introverts. Not all of them, but for some people, like, not having that social outlet, it can be really tough. I tried to do it once. That's when I realized that I wasn't a reclusive artist type. I went crazy. A shop cat to yell at. Yeah, exactly. Gato. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is it is kind of a solitary thing. Building guitars can be very solitary. A lot of builders I know are just working in their garage by themselves, working in their basement by themselves. It's a very solitary thing, you know, and it's like really weird because you go from like, I don't see anyone for months on end, and then I go to a guitar show and talk to 1,000 people in a day. Like, it's really jarring. But it is nice to have people to interact with, and that's what I learned. There was this, I took a year, I got laid off from the clarinet factory. I actually got laid off. They ran in some real hard times, and I was like, I gotta move on. I've done this clarinet stuff quite a while. So I opted. I could have stayed. They basically gave people options. They were like, you can stay. We have to lay off half the staff. And I was like, I'm out. Give me my EI. I had been there long enough that I got a severance package. The severance package actually paid off my student loans, which was pretty good. And I got to go on employment insurance for a year. So I was like, sweet. My debts are paid off. I have money, free money for a year. So I'm going to be an artist. And I was going to illustrate my graphic novel. And I went insane. I was drawing every day by myself, and I never talked to anyone. And I realized I actually even developed social anxiety, which I never had before in my life, just from not interacting with people. So then when I did start interacting with people, I was like nervous. And that has never happened to me before. And that's when I realized, I was like, no, I need to be around people. I need to talk to people. So for me, that whole idea of like, I'm just going to sit in my room and make my art, I didn't even make good art. So I don't think you can exist in a bubble. For me, that was a romantic delusion, that you can just sit in your room and make amazing art by yourself. I don't think you can. Some people can, but not me. I will put a mini humbucker in the neck of that telly, Gatto. You control your ADHD with your streams. Not very successful. Control ADHD. Make you fly sanding, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You got to make it work for you, and it's like having projects, and that's another thing. Is like how much of it is just how much of what you kind of gravitate towards is just kind of how your brain works. Getting to know yourself. Like I said, I thought I was a recluse. I thought I was like, I could be that artist, that weird artist who went off by himself. And it's like, no, I'm not. That's what I learned about myself. I'm actually a lot more social than I thought I was. You're going to deal with your ADHD there, Doom? That's tough. I think I fall more into the OCD spectrum. I can stay focused. I ultra focus on things, which actually is a good thing to have with guitar building. But then I get emotionally invested in the details, and then I can't stop. I'm the opposite. I get sucked into something, and then I can't stop. Yeah. 21 days. Well, that's the thing. It's about learning how your mind works. You know, a big part of working, being able to complete tasks, is figuring out how your brain works and figuring out how you can make yourself work in a way that you can accomplish the things you want to work. Everyone's different. You can't. Personalities, mentalities, chemicals in your brains. People's brains are wired different. So you have to figure out how you can accomplish your tasks, not copying someone else. And that just comes from introspection and just like observing yourself and having like self-reflection, you know? Especially when you screw up and you're like, I shouldn't do that again, you know? Hyper-focusing is also an ADHD. Oh. Jeez. You're hyper-focused, but not for very long. Took too long. Interesting. And then you kind of develop, Doom, more of a sketching style. But then when you do line art, Doom, but you'll hyper focus on the line art. You're always good at the line art though. You have to take meds to truly be employable. If that's what you need to get through the day. I've never been medicated for anything. For me, what I find works for me is routine. If I can create a routine, I can just keep grinding. I'm okay with routine. Is that how you control ADHD, through routine? because that's what I do. I don't think I have ADHD. Possibly on the spectrum. Who isn't these days? Here's the thing is like I have a lot of autistic traits, but I don't have any of the social handicaps that a lot of autists have. But I can really identify with autists, and I get along really well with people on the spectrum. I get them to a certain degree, and how they act doesn't really bother me. But I have a lot of the traits of an autistic person, but I don't have the social problems that a lot of autistic people, where they don't have the EQ. Like I get social cues and I get all those things. So I don't know. Everybody's mind, but then again, it's like who knows how those things work. You don't follow routines. Neurodivergent people tend to flock to each other. Makes sense. Everyone I know is a weirdo. They're all on the spectrum. Everyone I know. But I'm not. Just all my friends are. I think for me, yeah, come on in. Are you following Frugal Fixer? Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like sometimes it's not a disadvantage to have that. So you can manage multiple things at once. You can supervise 25 people at once and it's fine. Yeah, it's like I said, for me, I think I always have projects, and that keeps me grounded. I don't know what I would be diagnosed in if I didn't have something to do. I'm sure if my mind wasn't occupied by something all the time, I would probably go insane. But I do find that I always have a project and something I'm thinking about. I avoid video games now because I hyper focus on games and I can lose days to a game. So like when I say like I don't play video games anymore, it's not that I don't like video games. I actually really like video games, and I just know that I'll lose weeks and weeks to a game. So I just focus on guitars. It's just like everything is guitars. And I just think about guitars, building guitars, doing guitars. I'll just do guitars. And so my mind always has something to go to. And it just keeps me grounded so that my mind never runs away on me. It just always can get pulled back down into guitars. It's like if I don't, then I don't worry about things, because it's like no matter what's happening in my life, no matter how bad it is, it's like I'll still be thinking about guitars. So it'd be like I'm facing like complete ruin, everything is falling apart, and I'm just like, gotta get that neck done tomorrow, So it's like that's kind of how I cope with life. Maybe I build guitars because I can't handle life, but I can, if I just keep building, at least I have something to do, something I can focus on. The last video game was Atari. Your ADHD was more emotional. Interesting. Yeah, I find, I don't know, everybody's brain is different. And it's like you kind of, even though your brain is yours, you still have to figure out how to work with that thing, you know? How am I going to make this thing work for me? Nice. That neck is carving nice. Thank you again, Rage, for that nice piece of wood. I do like to learn. I do like learning things. I get kind of excited about doing new things, learning. I think with guitar building, I think one of the things that's very engaging, why guitar building is so engaging mentally is it's one of those things where you can still be learning stuff after years of doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's one of the things that's intriguing about any sort of like high-end woodworking, crafting, or anything like music, like any kind of creative thing really can go on forever. You can explore so many different things. So I think that's, you know, the creative outlet, a lot of, you know, like you guys are talking about ADHD, a lot of ADHD people are also creatives. I think that's, there's a reason for that. And I think there's a reason why with that sort of mind, you would be drawn to art, because art can go in so many different places. It never ends. There's always new things to explore. And that's also the danger of it. It's, and I'm sure Spike, like the dabbler mentality, and this, you know, when you're a capable person and you're a creative person, you can also fall into the trap of doing too many random things and then not finishing them. And you're like, I'm doing this over here, I'm doing this over here. And then, you know, and they're all very creatively different. Like, I'm building the guitar over here, I'm doing this thing over here, I'm doing that thing. And so it's like, I know that can be another thing that happens to a lot of creative people, is it's almost like they're too creative and they explore too many different things. You know, it's like, I'm doing music, I'm doing woodworking, I'm doing art, I'm doing, you know, doing all these things. And it's kind of like nothing can get done if you spread yourself too thin. You know, I had to pare down my projects. I didn't want to. I can do a lot of different things, but it doesn't mean I can do them quickly. So it's like there's only so many hours in a day. So luckily with guitar building, because it's so engaging, I was able to channel a lot of my creative energy into guitars. So I like drawing. So I was able to draw designs. I was able to still do modeling for the CNC cut files. I was able to do little detail stuff that I find engaging. So I think for me, that's been a real nice thing with guitar building, is that it's engaged a lot of my skill sets, which normally I would have to do a bunch of other things to get that same, like do all those different random things. So that's what's nice, is I've been able to pull it all in, like you guys saw with my merchandise. I was like, oh, awesome, I'm going to draw posters, I'm going to make t-shirts, I'm going to do swimsuits. Like, I went crazy on the merch. Like, it's crazy, like it wasn't enough to do just a bit of graphic design. I had to like illustrate t-shirts, and so I got to do a lot of art with my merch stuff, and I got to do a lot of art with my guitars and things like that, like just doing like the cow skull on that one. So I find it I'm able to take all those things and kind of incorporate them. Okay. I got the neck rounded over now. See that? See what I did there? You all thought I was just talking smack. I've been working this whole time. You didn't believe in me. You were like, Hank, you'll never finish that neck. You're just going to talk and talk and talk. I showed them all. It's like, now I can really